Imagine the absolute earliest moments of existence. We aren't looking at a physical space filling with raw matter, but an abstract mathematical firmament. Right now, it is experiencing a sudden, violent awakening of pure logic. The divine consciousness has just spoken the axiom of the power set. This decree bypasses simple, sequential counting and triggers an immediate explosion of uncountably infinite truths. The mathematical universe is no longer building one magnitude at a time. It is recklessly generating every conceivable combination of existence simultaneously, nesting worlds within worlds at an exponential rate. To an observer, this boundless generation represents the peak of freedom, unanchored and absolute. But within this expanse, the mind's unchecked capacity to conjure gives birth to a dangerous, unanchored decree. We can see the wording of this fatal flaw right here in Canto 0. The consciousness attempts to gather every thought which does not contain itself. The logic immediately eats itself. If this new thought contains itself, it violates its own defining rule and must be forcefully cast out. If the thought is cast out, it now perfectly fulfills its own rule, and therefore must logically be brought right back inside. The firmament fractures. The system is trapped in an infinite, oscillating contradiction, vibrating back and forth between true and false at blinding speed. This is the great paradox. The boundless capacity to create has become a fatal logical flaw, threatening to unspool the entire mathematical architecture back into a meaningless void. As the system fractures, the logic of the firmament shifts. A rule without a boundary is simply madness. To save the architecture of logic, a new mandate is issued. It outlaws the act of conjuring truths from the formless ether. Look at this geometric model. Context is now the unbreakable prerequisite for mathematical existence. A truth can no longer be willed into being just by naming a property. It must be extracted from a specific subset of reality that has already been proven to exist. To preserve the universe, the divine mechanism abandons its role as a boundless creator. It evolves into a meticulous, restrictive curator. This necessity for context gives rise to the supreme law of judgment, a mechanic designed to prevent the firmament from ever collapsing again. As documented here in Canto 2, this mathematical decree is the axiom of separation. Take an already established thought, apply a divine condition as a strict filter, and separate out a brand new thought containing only the truths that survive the judgment. When this law sweeps across the firmament and targets the great paradox, the cosmic aftermath is immediate. Because the paradox attempts to gather thoughts without filtering from an established boundary, it is instantly banished as an impossible phantom. The mathematical landscape is secured. The architecture preserves itself by aggressively cutting away the impossible. The firmament settles into a flawless equilibrium. It is a landscape eternally safe from the chaos of unanchored conjuration. Reading down to Canto 3, we see the mechanism that governs this stable reality, an invisible constitution. In human mythology, we equate divine power with the ability to endlessly create and add mass to a universe. But watching this topological filter in action reveals a different source of power. The code of the mathematical universe operates by stripping away the irrelevant and the incompatible. Divine perfection is the absolute, uncompromising rigidity of the filter. Existence is the absolute precision of